Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Chapter 44. The sun setting on the horizon shone through Cole's window as he sat organizing supply shipment records. Pouring a drink from the bottle on his desk, he sat back, admiring the pink and red colors. A soft rapping at the door drew his attention, and Private Jessup requested, "Permission to enter, sir?" "Granted," Cole responded. The doorknob turned and Jessup entered with a wide grin. "Sir, Staff Sergeant Bingham and Sergeant Bennett have arrived, sir." Cole threw his pen on his desk and quickly put his papers away. "Show them in," he requested, standing to greet the men as they entered. Alex jovially bounced into the room with Bennett on his heels. Both of them wore wide grins. "Major Virgis, nice to see you," Alex said, extending his hand. "Please, you guys are here to relax. Call me Cole." "I second that, and God Almighty, I could use the break from that place," Bennett declared. Cole had never seen him look so carefree. It was a welcome change, and he was excited by the night's prospects. "No reason to wait for Ben to start the festivities. Sit down, have a drink," Cole told them, heading to the cabinet for more glasses. He brought them back to the desk and filled them with the caramel liquid in the bottle. "So, Patrick, you went to basic with Ben. Where were you stationed?" Cole asked as he sat down in his chair. "Trained in San Diego. Bunch of crazies out there," Bennett replied, shooting the liquid in the glass. Cole poured him another. "I hear ya. That's why I chose to hang my hat in Arizona." "Where did you train, Cole?" Alex wondered. "I think my dad started training me in the womb. I was on a sniper team in high school. I went into law enforcement where General McClintock found me. I've been doing work overseas until now. My brother always wanted me to go private with him. He was going to finish 2 more years and then he was getting out," Alex commented. "Curious," Cole inquired. "He was in the Sacramento area when the quake hit, right?" "Yeah, he was," Alex admitted. "Did you ever find out what happened to him?" Cole wondered. "He died in the tsunami. He was assisting a community." "How did you find that out?" "That's the word I got from a survivor that was with him for a while," Alex explained. "You never told me about that," Bennett stated, interested in the story. Alex turned towards Bennett and batted his eyelashes at him. "Well, you never asked, honey," he declared flirtatiously. "You volunteering to take me home tonight?" "I guarantee it will be one to remember," Bennett teased, making kissing noises at him. "I don't care how big you are. I'll kick your ass if you keep talking that smack," Alex joked, standing from his chair. Bennett stood as well. His large frame towered over Alex. Bennett reached out to hug him, teasing, "You scared of a good time, little man? Come on, just one kiss." Bennett hugged the more petite man into himself, kissing him on the cheek. Alex pulled himself away, wiping off his face. He whined, "Oh, man, you're sick, Bennett." Quickly regaining his composure, he began to play spar with the massive man. "Hey, look who I found in the parking lot," Monroe sounded, appearing in the doorway. Nicholton followed Monroe in the door. "How's it going, fellas? I see you started without me," he accused. Cole rose from his chair to go shake the man's hand. "Ben, how's it going, my friend? Sit down. Have a drink," Monroe suggested, looking at the limited number of chairs. "Why don't we head over to Dolores's?" "We're waiting on Chappie," Cole explained. "He's still not off guard duty?" Monroe asked with a questioning scowl. The men laughed and Alex asked, "What the hell is Chappie doing on guard duty?" Cole smirked, declaring, "He earned it." "Y'all waiting on me?" Chappie bellowed in his southern drawl as he entered. "There he is, Mr. Guard Duty," Nicholton teased. Bennett laughed, standing from his chair to greet the man. "You have to tell us how you pissed off the major," Bennett insisted, shaking his hand. "Come on, guys, we can talk as we walk," Monroe directed, leading them out the door. "So what happened?" Alex wondered, nudging Chappie. "I went and got a drink the other night," Chappie said vaguely. "Come on, what happened?" Nicholton prodded. "I may or may not have taken the general's son with me," Chappie explained. "Oh, man, that's just dumb. How old is that kid now? 15? 16? Nicholton wondered. No, he's 20, Chappie defended as they exited the building and crossed the parking lot. Sounds old enough to me, Cole, Bennett stated, looking curiously at Cole. They approached a line of transport trucks wet from the recent washing. Johnny looked up, throwing a sponge in a bucket as they approached. Speak of the devil, here he is now, Cole exclaimed. Major Virgis, sir, Johnny greeted him, saluting. You done washing the trucks yet? Cole wondered. Almost, sir, Johnny responded. You're losing daylight, Private, Cole explained. Yes, sir, I know, sir, Johnny stated, looking at the sun's position. After the trucks, then the latrine? Cole commanded. Yes, sir, Johnny replied reluctantly. Good. After that, get some shut-eye. I assign you to the morning patrol, Cole directed. Thoroughly disappointed, Johnny answered. Yes, sir. The men walked away laughing as Johnny picked up his sponge and continued his scrubbing. You're my kind of commander, Cole, Nicholton chuckled. Bennett looked at the man accusingly. You kidding me? When Ben made drill, we puked for weeks. You want to get strong? Ben is your man. You're the one working in the re-education program. I'd say that takes some training ability, Nicholton told Bennett. Bennett's face furrowed in thought. Then he explained, It's different. It's more like winning an argument. Mentally exhausting. That's why I put in for a transfer to recruit training. You did? Alex asked, surprised as they passed through the gate to the base. The atmosphere on the street seemed electric tonight, and Cole was impressed that he could feel so relaxed. It had been too long. Yeah, I have to take a break from that stuff, Bennett expressed. He looked exhausted discussing it. Good for you, Patrick, Alex said with a wide smile, clasping the man lightheartedly on the shoulder. If you fellas are done patting each other on the back, we can go in and get a drink, Chappie teased, pausing to open the door. Let's go then, Bennett declared, stepping up. Chappie opened the door for the men, and the steady beat of the music drew them inward. Two gorgeous women were up on stage, and the men smiled widely. Their eyes were drawn to Dolores approaching. Major Virgis, how nice to see you. Are these your friends you were telling me about? She asked as a tantalizing scent washed over them. Dolores Chapman, I want you to meet Gunnery Sergeant Ben Nicholton, Sergeant Patrick Bennett, and Staff Sergeant Alex Bingham. You know the other two, Cole explained charmingly. Come on in, fellas. Make yourself at home, she declared, summoning them toward the back of the club. Well, I do believe I'll take you up on that offer. Lead the way, ma'am, Bennett replied, providing his arm for Dolores to hook her arm through. Nicholton chuckled, commenting to the guys under his breath. Check out Mr. Showboat. The men laughed at Bennett, following them through the club. She led them to the tables in the back corner. I reserved this table for you gentlemen for the weekend. Relax and enjoy yourselves, Dolores offered. Thank you, Dolores, Cole told her as the men chose seats and sat down. As Dolores left, another woman approached with a bottle and glasses. Look at these beautiful ladies, Alex commented. Now I know why you put your headquarters up here, Cole. Cole chuckled at his comment, taking a drink. It's definitely a perk, he admitted. Bennett poured his drink and drank it, keeping his eyes focused on a woman on the dance floor. When the song ended, he stood quickly, stating, If you guys don't mind, I see a pretty lady that looks like she could use a partner. Cole chuckled at Bennett as he left. It was nice seeing the man relax, but Nicholton looked awkward as he sipped his drink. Knowing that he knew the details of the wall they were building in the southwest, Cole asked, Ben, how has the work on the wall been going? Nicholton replied, slow. The rain never seems to end. I think this center of the U.S. is going to drown. Cole nodded, glad the process was being thwarted. How's the Capitol holding up, he wondered, pouring another drink. That place is beautiful, Nicholton declared, lifting his eyebrows up. You been there? Alex wondered in awe. Overhearing their conversation, Monroe leaned in, wondering, are you guys talking about the new capital city in Kansas? Yeah, they finally finished it. The center is a giant globe. The part dug into the ground is where the stands are for seating, and the top is all glass. Nicholton tried to explain the unique architecture above the sound of the thumping music. Amazing they built something like that while people out here starve, Chappie declared spitefully. Monroe scowled at him, correcting, Don't interrupt him, Chappie. I want to hear this. Around the glass bowl is a train system, and 7 more giant half domes are dug into the ground. They all swivel on gigantic ball bearings so they can move with the quakes, and the tops close in the heavy rain or tornadoes, Nicholton explained. Monroe sat back in his chair, nodding his head. That is something. Amazing. Wonder why we never built stuff like that before, Alex wondered. Necessity, time, and money, Nicholton answered. And labor, Chappie added. You got that right, Cole admitted, thinking of all the refugees who labored on that project. He poured everyone drinks and they each quietly reflected for a moment. Nicholton broke the silence, declaring, Anyway, the wall building is slow and wet. Good. We have to keep it that way, Cole replied, pausing for a moment and turning toward Alex. Did you hear anything else about your brother? Who told you they were with him? Chappie chuckled at Cole's question, explaining, He wants to know if it was the lone survivor. I want to know too. I think we all do, Monroe defended. It's just a story, Chappie insisted. Alex leaned towards them, stating, What if I told you she might just be the lone survivor? Monroe looked at him with a curious grin. You're not serious right now. Alex poured himself a drink, explaining, There are rumors, but she doesn't talk about it. This girl has spirit. Hell, Bennett couldn't even get her to crack. She went through the re-education process, Cole asked. Alex shook his head positively, explaining, Yeah, her whole family. They helped to organize the riot. I've been friends with her for a lot of years, and I've never heard her talk about the lone survivor story, though. Then why do you think it's her? Monroe asked. Because I didn't hear it from her. I heard it from her family and friends, Alex answered. Cole is the best interrogator I've ever known. If anyone can get her to talk, he can, Chappie suggested matter-of-factly. I may be able to get you an opportunity, Cole. There's a new round of refugees being chosen for the rescue squad. I requested her group make up one of those teams, Cole informed him. I could try to get your squad to go out when we found out where her team is going to be, Nicholton suggested. You think Tweed is going to put her on the team? Cole asked Alex. I hope so. Erica's crew is talented in some valuable ways. It's up to him, and ultimately her now. Watching Bennett approach, the men halted their conversation. He was drunk and sweaty from dancing. What are you fellas doing over here, swilling shots, when there are beautiful women to dance with? Come on, boys, he told them, urging them to join him on the dance floor. Nicholton smiled widely, eagerly joining him, and the group followed suit. Rising to his feet, Cole leaned into Alex and whispered, You set it up, and I'll be there. Alex nodded at him as they joined the dancing throng of people. Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 443, season 15, episode 44. Hey, Chin, what's up?
Hey, chin's up, y'all.
Man, nice to have you in the house tonight. And we also have our guest tonight is Keri Hanson, and she does Henson. I should say Henson, right? Not Hanson.
Henson, yeah.
Henson.
That's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, a little correction. And her website is momsdayprepper.com. She's doing Momsday Bunker. Really cool work. So I'm super excited to introduce her to both my Changing Earth community and the Prepper Broadcasting Network. So hi, Keri. How are you tonight?
Hey, y'all. I am good. I am doing great.
Thank you for joining us. I know you had a long day because you have just a ton of kiddos. And so I appreciate you power napping for us so that you've got some pep tonight.
You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. I was locked in with my senior last night for Project Prom. So I was up all night with a bunch of 17, 18-year-old kids until 6 o'clock this morning. So.
Oh, let the good times roll.
Oh, it was so much fun. It was fun, though. It really was.
I bet
it was
you
a
it
great
was.
time.
Yeah. So you were out to Prepper Camp last year. Was that your first year at Prepper Camp?
That was my first year. Yeah, that was my first experience in the Prepper Camp adventures. Yeah.
What was your first impression of Prepper Camp?
Well, it actually started before I got there because I have been hearing not only you and Chen, but other podcasters that I was listening to as my curiosity curiosity grew, and I really wanted to investigate the community. I would always hear stuff about prepper camp and how people need to go to prepper camp and all the things you can learn at prepper camp. And so I already knew kind of like this is going to be top notch. Like this is going to elevate my preparedness knowledge. So I really need to get out there and do that. And so we took the leap to go last year. I listened to Rick, who came on, I think, and spoke with you. And he's like,
Yep.
That's kind of what you can expect. I said, I'm just buying my ticket. I'm going to go. So we flew because we're in Texas. So we flew and then we drove over there. And oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. That part of the country is just gorgeous. And everything was so organized. And I'm like a type A person. So I'm like, I need to be organized. And the classes were plentiful. I didn't have time to even go to all of the classes because there were so many of them. And the people were very nice. And it was great. It was a great learning experience. It really was.
Perfect. Yeah, that's we're awful proud of our prepper camp, keeping our times and everything. You know, all the classes start on time. Everything goes. We try, except for when Chin messes up my computer.
Gotta keep it spicy.
Yeah, and we're scrambling. So no, but I'm glad that you're coming out again this year, right?
Yeah, and I think we're going to take a different direction. So we're going to actually bring our camper this time with all the kids because it was just me and my husband last time, and stay on property. So we just did the Airbnb thing and drove in, but the property is so beautiful and the community is just so welcoming, you know, and knowledgeable and kind. And so we're like, and there were a lot of kids there too. It was like our kids could just run around and have fun. And
one way in, one way out. So a lot less concerns.
Wait.
With the kiddos.
You're talking about a prepper event where all those tinfoil people running around?
Right? Yeah.
I will be bringing my hat with me.
Yes. We do have the tinfoil hat competition. So, yeah, you can win good prizes.
Thanks, James.
Yep.
Commander.
Yeah, Saturday night you can win a bunch of prizes. So you got to pay attention in class. Think, just go up and ask that instructor, hey, what's your question Saturday night going to be?
And we were like way back up on the hill and because we didn't know what was going to happen, right? It was our first time there. And we were like, oh, what's the answer? I know the answer to that. I was in that class. Shoot, what was the answer?
Right? Yeah, Rick's like, you guys are scoring a C right now. We're like, oh, man.
That's funny. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so we just heard the reading from Virgis. And in this week's read, one of the sergeants in there, he's actually in charge of doing like the re-education program, which is taking people who don't think the same way as you and kind of remolding them into people that do think like you.
So public school.
Yeah. I love it. So, and he gets, to talking about how he's got to take a break from it. He just can't mentally do it anymore. And it really got me thinking this would be a great night to have you on because it was kind of just we have to relax at some time or another. They've been in this post-apocalyptic, demanding world, high-stress world for years now. And it was kind of like a planned party to just find some peace of mind, right? And so, Keri, why don't you talk to us kind of your story, of course, and then where that has springboarded you. And then we can kind of go into the importance of finding these moments and how that really plays in.
Awesome. You are speaking my language. Okay, here we go. So my whole, I don't know if you call it a mantra or motto, is finding beauty in the ashes. Okay, so many times in our life, we have stressful moments or traumatic moments, and it just feels like our house is burning down around us. So if you're Virgis and you've lived in this changing earth world, right, that he's in, his house is just literally burnt down around him. And it's about finding beauty in the ashes. So I'll start with my story. When my 7-year-old son was hit by a 1-ton truck, my motherhood hit rock bottom. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it hit rock bottom. And it started in 2015 when my fourth child, my 9-month-old precious baby, was diagnosed with neuroblastoma. That is a childhood cancer. It is the nastiest of childhood cancers. It's just a very angry cancer. And we follow that up in 2017 when this big jerk face called Hurricane Harvey just kind of came up the Texas Gulf Coast. And it was, I mean, no one could have predicted this guy. They thought he was going to come over Houston and up through Arkansas. Instead, he just decided to hang out and just circled over Houston. Yes, 52 inches in like a 48-hour time. And it decimated our home. I was 37 weeks pregnant with our sixth baby. And any mom out there knows you keep everything with every baby. You keep the onesies and the baby equipment. And it was gone. We had to start all over.
Oh, my goodness.
And I didn't have a home to bring my baby to. So it was wild.
So much for the nesting instinct.
So much. Oh, my gosh. Yes, so much for there's a lot of details in that. I had been nesting for so long, and it was just gone. Like food. We had just butchered an entire cow.
Oh.
And it was gone. I mean, it was insane.
Oh, my gosh.
It was a war zone. And then in 2019, my husband became very ill, and he was in the hospital for 2 months. And I'm a stay-at-home mom primarily, so we're a single-income family, and that was just a very scary time. And then you follow that up in 2023 when my tank, my 7-year-old, was hit by this truck and critically injured. Now, Sarah, Chen, I should have prefaced this. I apologize. All of my children are alive. They're healthy and they're very spoiled. But it was.
And you got a big old family, right? 6 of them?
And I got a big old family. I got six babies. Yeah, they're not all babies anymore, but they're
sadly
always
enough,
babies.
They grew up, even though we tried our best to not let them do that.
I know they do. And my oldest, I'm very proud of. He is Army National Guard. He's down at the Texas border. He's doing good. He's fighting the fight. You know, some days are crazy. He'll tell me crazy stories, and other days it's like nothing's there. So it's kind of a weird. It's kind of a weird
prayers
thing.
for him and his safety there. Yeah, good job.
I heard in one of your podcasts he's learned to ask if the child if that's his mother or what.
Yes. Yeah, he's learned a lot of Spanish, and the Spanish he's learned is like, is this your mom? Is this your dad? Because of trafficking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Garden Girl also sends her blessings for him in our chat room.
No, thanks, y'all. Yeah, he's doing great. So all this to say, you guys, was, man, if you're hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up, right? So I'm a 6th-generation Texan. I pulled my boots up by my bootstraps, and I said, we're going to make something out of this. And the seed was planted in my imagination to combine my, knowledge and information from the prepper community with motherhood. And I've created this Momsday Prepper. And I've coined these moments, Momsday moments, these doomsday attacks on our motherhood. These attacks that come from outside sources that you can't see, they're coming at you. You don't. It's like an atomic bomb hits you, right? And you can't see it, can't predict it. And how to find purpose in that pain. And there are strategies as moms that we can utilize. You know, I think the number one prep that I like to tell moms in my community is spirituality. I think if you have a strong foundation of spirituality, and listen, y'all, I am not evangelical. I'm not a theologian.
Right.
I just know that my foundation rests with Jesus Christ and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But I'm going to love you wherever you're at.
Yep.
I just know that my experience on the pediatric oncology floor was it solidified the importance of spirituality, because childhood cancer does not discriminate. Right. It does not discriminate against color, economic status, gender, religion, but those moms and those families that had some sort of faith to hold them together were the ones that got through it. No matter what the outcome was for their child, they got through it much easier.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just about the strategies to prepare yourself for those moments you can't predict, which is exactly what you do in the prepper community, right?
Yes.
That, like, we're preparing for multiple events that possibly could happen. Some of them probably not, but possibly they could happen, right?
Right.
So it's just about combining those two things together, and
your own personal disaster is the event that is most likely to hit you. Like, we can pretty much say you're going to have a personal disaster at some time in your life.
Oh yeah.
Nobody really. So even just preparing, being a prepper on that level, I mean, imagine, one of your kids goes down. At least you have a kitchen full of food that you can eat on for a while, so you don't have to worry about that stress on top of what's going on when you're experiencing this horrible moment,
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because one of my other preps is community.
Mm-hmm.
And community isn't always easy for people. For me, it's super easy. I'm an extrovert. I've been an actor for 30 years. I love people, but it's not easy for everyone to go out and make friends, especially when you're an adult, right? You don't go up to someone in the grocery store and be like, you want to be my friend? You don't do that. So it's a little trickier, but for 10 months that we were being treated for cancer, I didn't go to the grocery store once. We had meals delivered to us nonstop. Again with Harvey, again with my husband's illness, again with the tank. Community is super important. And I feel, you guys got to correct me on this, but I feel like some of the podcasts and YouTube channels I've listened to, there's like a line drawn in the sand, like, some people don't want to share that they're preppers. They don't want don't want anyone to know. But then some people are like, the more the merrier.
Big gatekeepers thinking that like that's an important role, when like the more people that you can have into the preparedness community, the better. So I'm welcoming for everyone, because I know where I started my journey, and everybody starts their journey somewhere. So the community should welcome, and people should be vetted, but it should be welcoming, Yeah,
I would argue community is insurmountable to your survival under any kind of attack, whether it's a Mom's Day moment like mine, or the pandemic, or whatever, whatever may come your way. We're not meant as humans to be alone.
Right.
We're meant to travel in herds, and so I would
be there.
I would argue. Yeah, I would argue community is real important.
Well, I always say, like, even when my kids just have a cold, right? I would take that 100%. I would take that from them if I could, hands down. Like, my idea of hell is my children being endlessly sick. And so that's why some of the episodes are very challenging. I appreciate you being able to bring those stories to life, though, and those people being willing to share their experiences, because like I was telling you in the green room, there's pieces that I've taken with me to my self-defense, where I teach other people how to, be aware of what's going on around them. And the fentanyl story in particular is one that made a big impact. So I do really appreciate your show, your ability to share your experiences with others. And even though that is a difficult topic, it gets to the point where it's like almost a hush-hush topic, because nobody really wants to experience that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember thinking, surely I'm not the only mom out there. And so I started the Momsday Bunker podcast, really as a vehicle for other moms to be able to share their story so that we can learn,
And one of the coolest other things that I'm seeing out of it, and from hearing from your shows, is that it's also giving people a way to connect about like treatment procedures and stuff like that.
Yes.
So if you're not willing to talk about it, then you don't know what somebody else is experiencing. You don't know what that other person's experiencing, or this really, alternative option out there. So if the conversation gets shut down at a grassroots level, that doesn't allow the opportunity for other moms to learn from other people's experiences. So you're also providing that, which is great job. It's
Thank
a really
you.
Good podcast. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. It's been a labor of love.
Yeah, because I bet.
Lots of tears.
Yes.
Lots of tears have been shed. Not just because of the story, but because it's so hard. Like, how do you do it, Sarah? Oh my gosh. It's so hard. It's so much work. It's like,
just get in the flow. I mean, the more you do, the more you do, the more you do, the more you do in life. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And also, you're doing voices now for the Changing Earth audio drama as well. So you guys got to look out for Keri and her kids in the audio drama. So I very much appreciate that as well.
Of course. Yeah. Awesome. Don't tell my agent. She'll be like, are you getting paid for that?
All volunteers.
Yeah, this is a freebie. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's fun. I'm honored to be a part of it. It's really cool.
I appreciate it big time. So the other interesting tidbit that I picked up from your podcast is I'm also a Christian. And so I'll say a lot of times, we have challenges from the Lord. We're strong enough, to handle those and as horrific as that must be, it gives us strength to be able to say that. But when you're on the receiving side of that statement and you don't want to be strong anymore because you're dealing with a nightmare that you'd never want to live through, it made me realize a lot, just being there for people and maybe saying nothing at all, but just listening is a better way to go than saying something to that regard.
Yes, please,
right?
Never say it's going to be okay. God's got this. God doesn't give you more than you can handle, because those are shaming statements.
Yes.
When you're in the trauma of something, when I was in the ditch, holding my 7-year-old boy, critically injured, 12 broken bones, 4 lacerated organs instantaneously. The last thing I needed was for someone to say it's going to be okay.
Right.
I needed someone to just be in it
present.
With me. Just be present, Sarah. Yeah. Yes. Just be present with me in that time. And you want to talk about an angry mom. I was cursing the man who hit him.
Yeah, after everything you already been through.
I was cursing my husband, who was supposed to be watching him. I was cursing God, and I was doing it publicly. I was doing it publicly, and it wasn't pretty. And there's a lot of self-righteous Christians out there who are like, "Oh, you're not pretty anymore. There's not a message of hope in your tragedy, so I'm going to go away."
Yes.
And you know what? That's okay, because my God's bigger than those people. And we're on, God and I have a very tumultuous relationship right now, because it's why, what the heck, man? These precious babies are getting attacked over and over and over again. And cancer's no joke. And natural disasters are no joke. It is, it's a serious war zone when a natural disaster happens. I was an angry.
Well, I appreciate that person. Because, as somebody who's, wants to be supportive of a friend, and you've never personally experienced something like that. You've never even been with anybody. And now here is your good friend who's experiencing this, and to know as an individual how to interact appropriately with that individual can be a challenge on their own right, Yeah. Absolutely. And so that is very enlightening. It's good. That's good. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys got to check out Keri's podcast. You'll absolutely love it. And get your Kleenexes right.
And with caution. They're not all sad. I gotta say, they really aren't all sad. It's just the two that I really pushed Sarah to listen to were probably the saddest ones.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I appreciated it. Yeah, and they were.
You, Sarah.
They were.
I was betting you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm not kidding. They were good. Very emotionally, I'm trying to pick up the phone for work. Hello. Thank you for calling me. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. So
there's so much wisdom in them, though. It's
yes,
man.
And that's what I'm saying. Worth it. You have to go through the experience to be able to learn the wisdom on the other side. We don't learn without challenges. So it's great work. Okay, so when you're in the middle of an incident where you are just angry with everything, how do you get a moment to just take a break for mama? Because, right, you can't constantly. Well, when my son was little, Fletcher, when he was a baby, he cried all the time. He had gas, it was really bad gas. He cried and he cried and he cried and he cried and cried. And he would sleep for an hour long only till he was 3 months old. Then he went to 2 hours, It was just
miserable.
really
That's miserable for you.
Yes.
I get it. Yeah.
No, hindsight, I probably should have taken him to a chiropractor at that point.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that, and my mom's boyfriend actually was really good at tweaking his body around and getting him to gas out and things like that. So anyway, there were some nights when I held that kid in such frustration that I knew for his sake I had to walk away.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
How let's talk a little bit about like those types of moments and how you find that personal when you're just in so much stress.
Yeah.
You got to have that smile.
Absolutely. So I call those mini Momsday moments, those like mini moments through life that you just think you're never going to get through and you want to pull your hair out and you're sleep deprived and everything
right?
else, you know?
Yes, right. Exactly. So minimal compared.
One of the 6 preps that I talk about is awareness. And awareness is a twofold prep for motherhood. One, you have to be aware of your world. You have to be aware of the AI and what that means, and food shortages and what that means, and human trafficking and what that means. But you also have to have self-awareness. And self-awareness is difficult because, one, you have to have courage to look into and become aware of yourself, right? That's self-awareness. And you have to be willing to investigate the nervous system. So how your nervous system reacts to stress and to crisis is huge in surviving a mini Momsday moment or a Momsday moment or a freaking asteroid that's pummeling to the earth. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, it's so cinematic, you guys. It's so cinematic. The loudest, the most arrogant, the one that has all the toys, all the guns, all the food in any movie is the first one to die, right? And why is that? Because their nervous system is unchanneled. So you're going to go into a freeze, flight, fawn, or freeze, fight, fawn, freeze, flight, fawn, fight. Am I saying? Did I do the 4? Anyways, you have your nervous system is going to drive how you react to these stressful moments. And if you don't have a handle on that, if you've never investigated it, if you've never experienced crisis like I have, it's difficult. I mean, you could shut down. Like, had I not gone through the things I went through when Tank was hit by that car, I could have easily just shut down.
Right.
And that might have looked like fainting. It might have looked like screaming uncontrollably. It might have looked like going into shock. You know, your body can go into physical shock from these things. But because I was so self-aware, and I had done a lot of work in that trauma healing and trauma processing from past traumas. And we all have trauma. Like, I hate throwing that word around because it's so overly used these days. You can call it stress. You can call it crisis. You can call it whatever, you know. Right. But we have
that wounds. Oh crap moment.
Yeah, we have wounds, right? Yep. We have these wounds that we carry, and sometimes we don't know that we're carrying them until we're hit literally by a car, right? And how our nervous system reacts is going to really predict the outcome of the situation. So I have to laugh sometimes. I was on this homesteading group on Facebook, and someone was like, what's the number one skill you need? And the number one skill I put in the comments was, you need to know your nervous system. If you don't have a handle on how you react in crisis, you might as well just put your guns up for sale. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter how much water you have stocked. It's not going to matter how much food you have stocked. It really isn't. You're going to lose your mind. Yeah. You've got to be able to understand how you are going to process stress, crisis, trauma. And I mean, if we're talking SHTF, that's pretty severe. That's big T trauma.
Yes, that is a huge T.
That's not like I got a fender bender. Oh no, you know.
It's like no. Your whole world just got rocked out of everything, and you're going to have to just start all over again.
Everything you know, everything that's familiar to you is done. That's why I like I like what I would call like survivalist or bushcraft. Like, those people have my respect. You can drop them in the middle of a mountain range with a Swiss Army knife, and they're going to become like Swiss Family Robinson, and they're going to have like this whole
tree house going.
Tree house, man.
Yeah.
Those people are amazing.
Garden.
Like, I have respect.
Yep.
Those are the people that will survive.
Yeah.
Because you can take their nervous system, which is their familiarity, right? You have your pantry with all your canned goods, and you have your closet with all your guns, and you have your water storage, and you have all these things that's familiar to you. And you take your nervous system out of that and you place it in the middle of a crisis, a fire, an earthquake, or whatever. Your nervous system is going to go, but where's my blankie?
Right. Yeah.
Right? Where's my I need my blankie. And your blankie's not going to be there. So I would say in any moment, any Mom's Day moment, mini Mom's Day moment, that self-awareness is super critical.
I preach it big time and when I'm doing self-defense. Because before you're in that self-defense moment, you don't even know the amount of different adrenaline that's just going to be coursing through you. So if you don't take the time to get into a room where you're just practicing and potentially could get hit in the mouth kind of thing, when you're out there on the street and you're faced with the moment, it's going to be that much worse. So like you need to have some kind of muscle memory built to be able to handle that situation when you're out on the street. So that's why I'm a big proponent of you've got to constantly be self-aware, check your stress levels, and know how to handle that adrenal stress in the moment.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, 100%. And it's super easy to do. There's like a couple of like tests you can take, psychology tests you can take online that kind of that will lean towards how you're going to respond. But then also, if you just think back in your own history, in your own past, that there was a hard moment and you really meditate and look in the mirror of how you reacted to that moment, that's going to give you a really good idea of how you're going to react in an SHTF situation. It's
funny because you told me how you first started listening to me was on Duff and Dale's show, right?
Yeah.
And Brian Duff is absolutely amazing to talk to as far as where he's come with his PTSD and being able to rationalize that stress that he went through in his past times. He's incredible. It's taught me things on how to regulate my anger, stuff like that. Be able to recognize those emotions and do that self-analysis. You're right on with that. That's right on point.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if you don't know, and then you get thrown out to the wolves,
you're gone.
Good luck.
You're gone. And then everyone gets to benefit from your storages because, like, it really. I know it's probably a terrible thing to say, but it's true. It's so cinematic. It's so cinematic.
It is, and it's a shame too because at a lot of the, I've been to a lot of the conventions, and at the conventions, there's a whole lot of people who talk a really big talk. And then, they're talking about their go bags and their this and their that. And, they're overweight with a smoothie or whatever in their hand. And you're just like, really? 'Cause, how far can you walk with that bag? I'm sorry to say, but
it's easy. It's easy to prep with a credit card. It's hard to prep with your mind, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's no credit card, no fortune teller, no nothing that could have ever prepared me for what was going to happen. When an ER doctor walks into the room and you have your chunky 9-month-old baby there that looks perfectly healthy, perfectly pink, full head of black hair, and says, your baby's going to die before his first birthday, it does not matter. You cannot... I cannot express, or I don't have the language yet to just say you can't prepare yourself. You can be cocky as all get out as you want, but when that happens, you've got to know how your body's going. You can't buy a cure for childhood cancer. It doesn't work. He's my $1 million baby. I will tell you all that. One of my other preps is finances. Y'all better get that in order.
We hear that.
Because when there's not an amount you will not pay to save your child. And if you don't have the money and you're living paycheck to paycheck, like, it gets real hard. It gets real hard. Y'all, I spent $1,500 in 10 months on a parking spot.
Oh.
Because we're in a med center here in Houston, is you have to pay for parking. what else are you going to do?
Wow.
I got to be there. I got to save my kid. Right. So like, you have to have those finances in order. Like, you have
How
to.
screwed up is that reality too?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Just on societal reflection. I guess we'll have to do a whole nother show on that. But,
I can talk for hours, girl.
Right? But no
I can
fears.
get real tinfoil hat too if we want to.
We're going to have you back on before this season's over for sure. Because, Keri's good people, everybody. So feel free to head over to her website, momsdayprepper.com. All
we
one word.
Posted it in the show notes today. In the show.
It's in the live chat link. And I'll put it up too on my blog over at changingearthseries.com. Thank
you. Thank you so much for your support, Sarah and Jen. Thank you for just letting me rattle on here. And
no, good stuff.
We'll see where it goes, right?
Like I say, the stories that are hard to hear are sometimes the most important to hear. And being alone, like you say, we're social creatures, and being alone within that construct when you're dealing with that Mom's Day event or Dad's Day event, for that matter, right?
Yeah, really. Yeah. That's a whole other section to this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and to have that feeling of I'm alone in this, I'm on my own. There's nobody that's ever gone through that. No, it's so not true. And just being able to enlighten people with those amazing, incredible stories of those women who are so strong to be, to have gone through what they went through. It just makes me thank the Lord 100 times over for, both the boys have 10 fingers, 10 toes, everybody's smiling.
Especially boys.
Amen. Yeah. Amen. Thank you, God, for my blessings. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
All right, guys. So go check out Keri. Keri's going to stick around for Changing Earth news. So we're going to go ahead and roll that music.
Dream, survive, thrive. This is Changing Earth News.
All right, Changing Earth News. Today is April 21st, 2024. And the sun's got some sunspots on it, but it's minimal activity right now. We are watching a coronal hole come into view, so we'll be on earthquake watch this week. So if you guys are in vulnerable areas, please be aware that we are on earthquake watch this week, particularly for my listeners in Indonesia and the Philippines. Be aware this week we are on earthquake watch. April 15th, 2024, there was 332 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, the biggest of which was a 5.9 in the Philippine Sea. Oh my gosh, another name that I practiced before the show. In Margate, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, there was heavy rains caused by flooding there. There was also heavy rain activity in Kazakhstan. That's the area of southern Russia that's been flooding. Southern Russia, northern Kazakhstan. It is a huge humanitarian problem out there. If you guys go over to YouTube and just look up the pictures of the flooding in Russia, whole communities down underwater. It is not fixing itself. It is just becoming worse. In Sedell, Louisiana, there was 111 to 135 mile an hour winds that flipped a SUV with a woman inside of it. We had some pretty serious weather come through Texas, and you, Keri, in the Houston area.
Yeah, we got some good rain.
Yeah, you guys just got creamed as well. The storm system that was before this one that just hit us. Did you get as cold down there? We're cold right now.
We're 70, which is cold for us.
Okay, yeah, we're like in the 60s, 50s, 60s. But the storm system that was right before that one hit Houston pretty good too. All right, on April 16th, 2024, 365 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.5 in the North Pacific Ocean. Not a whole lot going on that day other than earthquake activity. Oh, and ongoing problems like in Russia and Dubai. We're going to get into Dubai in a minute. April 17th, 2024, there was 383 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, the biggest of which was a 6.3 in the Philippine Sea near Japan. There was a 4.9 earthquake in Northern California along the Cascadian subduction zone. The flooding in Dubai and Oman is also continuing to grow worse. Salem, Iowa, they had a destructive tornado touchdown there, and then they had 14 confirmed tornado touchdowns throughout the Midwest on the 17th of April. Edmonton, Canada, they had a natural gas pipeline rupture, which prompted wildfire responses to that activity. And Mexico has also been having a record heat wave causing wildfires there. On the 18th of April, there was 477 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.6 in Baja, Mexico. There was also a 6.6 earthquake off the coast of Japan that day. And that is the day that Mount Rang in Indonesia erupted. Huge eruption. It's on its own little tiny island, so it prompted tsunami concerns for Indonesia. Also, there was another tornado touchdown in Windham, Ohio. On the 19th of April, there was 406 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.7 in the South Pacific Ocean by the Loyalty Islands. Indonesia is evacuating thousands as Mount Ruang erupts again, so that is an ongoing incident over there. I checked the maps today, and it is still erupting today. There's been massive flooding in Afghanistan and Pakistan that took out 135 people. And the Russian flooding is still escalating, as I mentioned before. They're trying to literally use pumps to pump water out of the area, and they're just up against it. There was a bunch of wildfires that broke out in Wisconsin. And then on the 20th of April, there was 380 earthquakes, or 2.0 or bigger, the biggest of which was a 5.0 in the Philippine Sea near the North Mariana Islands. There was a 2.3 earthquake in southern Illinois by Woodlawn. Indonesia erupting again, so they're really concerned about these tsunamis coming out. Indonesia is big time Mount Ruang in the news right now. Dubai is a whole nother story. They're having the worst rainfall they've had in 75 years. They got 1 year's worth of rain in one day. So how is that possible? They were testing a new type of cloud seeding, which also speaks to, you got to go over and listen to Ben, of course, but on a lot of our climate models, they're taking the sun, they don't even take into account the sun's activity. And his argument has always been that the sun's electrical energy helps us, fuels our storm systems here. And he's amazing scientist over at Suspicious Observers and can do a lot better job of explaining that than me. But this new technique that they're using for cloud seeding actually charges the clouds. So they're using electricity to charge the atmosphere to cause rainfall. And it worked really well. It worked much better than they thought it would. And now the whole city and Oman is just completely flooded. So not only does it lend itself to the disaster that's going on in Dubai, but also Ben is just using it as, see the positive effects that this has. We know the sun should be involved in our climate models, not using these outdated ones with the carbon dating and all of this mess that is just inaccurate. In Queensland, they are bracing for more rain. They got another cyclone headed their way. And in Guangdong, China, they had 201 kilometer per hour winds that were literally blowing homes away. They got hit really hard over there. On April 21st of 24, there was 380 earthquakes. That's today, in case you're wondering. Biggest of which was a 5.4 in the island area. There was an eruption near Grindavik in Iceland again. They have some really cool pictures of the northern lights over top of the eruptions that are going on there, if you want to go check that out. Nairobi is also seeing some heavy rain. They're dealing with some flooding over there. And in southern China, they're also having to evacuate residents due to heavy flooding in the area. On our volcano watch this week, we have 32 erupting volcanoes on our planet right now, which is definitely topping off the most that I've ever seen in about the last 5 years or 4 years or so of recording how much volcanic activity we have on the planet. So definitely a day to mark down. We have 18 showing minor activity. So that's down 1 and the erupting is up 1. So we didn't add any more volcanoes to the overall list. but we do have 32 erupting, and then 29 showing unrest. That's the same number as before. Wildfire activity in the United States, we're looking pretty darn good right now. We have 5,919 acres on fire, 17 new fires, 3 are large active fires, and 21 fires are contained right now. Kansas is our number 1 state, and honestly, I don't see it in the news very much. I didn't see a lot of headlines about it, so I'm thinking maybe it's just prairie land or something like that. It's 1 new active fire, or 1 new fire, 1 active fire, 5,569 acres. Both of those are contained. North Carolina is still second on the list, Jen. 1 new fire, 1 active, 220 acres only. And then Virginia is still number 3 on the list with 3 new fires, 1 active, 130 acres on fire, and 2 of those fires are contained. So there we go. Big news of the week was definitely Mount Ruang in Indonesia. The chemtrail stuff in Dubai. I mean, that's just, let's play God. And then it totally backfires. Ouch. So probably playing God's not such a good idea, I don't think. Right? I mean, the whole town's now flooded. People are like running around on jet skis and stuff.
That falls under be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just might get it. So I always keep my eye on Mount Pele too. There's a prophet, Edgar Casey, and he's like, when Vesuvius and Pele are erupting at the same time, then it'll be big trouble for Nevada and the west coast of the United States. So I always keep my eye on that too. Pele is still on the list, but Vesuvius hasn't been on the list for a while. Campiflagre is, and that's another super volcano over there in Italy that we definitely have eyes on, and it's still on the active list as well. So rocking and rolling with earthquake risks. It could make for a fun week. I'm just saying. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's all I got for you tonight. Keri, again, thank you for your time. I can't wait to have you back on. Hopefully everybody goes over and checks it out, guys. I wouldn't steer you wrong. Keri's good people. So check that out. Thank you
so much. Thank you.
You got it. And
as the guy on the show right now, don't think you only have to be a mom to listen to the show. It was pretty riveting. So everybody can take a listen.
Thank you, Chen. Yeah, thank you so much.
No. All right, guys. Until next week, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Boom! Nice. I didn't even prep her for that, so that's beautiful. Beautiful. That was the test. I was vetting you.
Every guest test.
That's that you were vetting me. That's
yeah,
awesome.
That's right. All right, guys, have a great week.
Fun.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.